is with the futures market open, obviously we still have until Sunday night at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, which is roughly 48 hours from right now. We'll be able to tell a lot more on this weekly candle. But right now, what I'm looking at is the fact that XRP at least is over that 306 area, but we still haven't invalidated this possible drop down. So the question here would be, is XRP going to go under $3? That is a doozy. Death cross in 2 hours needs to be invalidated. And that's identified by the 20 crossing through the 200 days. So the 20 is this red line. It came down through the 50-day moving average, the 100-day moving average, and now ultimately through the 200-day. What I want to do here as well is I want to put on a couple indicators real quick just to kind of guide you along as well if you need further validation here, which, you know, a lot of people like further validation. There's nothing wrong with that. So I'll put on the MACD, but I'm going to see. We'll go a little deeper here this evening. I showed you yesterday a different version. I don't think they still have the one I used. But we're going to get into something else I'm going to show you today, and it's going to be the VWAP, and that's going to be the last thing that I put on here. But we'll just go over into the MACD. I'm just going to go to the moving average convergence divergence. We'll keep it pretty basic, unless I can do the moving average convergence, divergence, and stochastic on the same one. I don't know how that's going to look. I'll put it within that. That's definitely not what I want to see. All right, so I'm going to take that. I don't like that. I was thinking it was going to show a much better indicator than that. Let me wipe this out. Anyhow, we're going to get into this, but we're going to have to look at to see what the optics are here about not just XRP, but do we fall down on bear flags here? And if so, where can we end up? But if not, what do we have to do to kind of invalidate this thesis of, like, we've got this micro setup here that could bring us down, but in the macro we look spectacular. It's just that simple. The macro, we look absolutely spectacular. Oh, good. I put it on 1. I was going to say something did not trend properly the first time. Like, it got caught up for some reason. So let's get rid of that. Let's get rid of that. So at least we have the moving average convergence, divergence. And we can see, well, the 15 is starting to flip back to red after a little bit of a surge. But going more into the higher time frames here, you know, the 2 hourly was trying, but we've got the dot cross there too. So, I mean, that's a problem. That is definitely a problem. But I want to go into the VWAP real quick, and we'll find some volume portfolio there as well. So I want to open that up just to kind of see some, not a further, you know, okay, this is the end all be all here, but just a further look at exactly what's going on here, because I think it's important, kind of, when I put the other one on, I'm going to put this one on top. And I like that they at least added that feature on here. And then the VWAP. So we'll do the volume weighted average index. I just want to see what it looks like. Man, this is really, really slow right now. Is it going to really make me close it out again? Interesting. This is very disappointing how it's actually working. See what's going on here, don't you? But good evening. 7:49 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on this Friday, August 15th, 2025. I'm XRP Future Millionaire, and I reside in the great state of Michigan. So fuck the indicators right now. We're going to do some basic technical analysis. That's why I hate the indicators. So Small bear flags. I think we can all acknowledge this could be a small bear flag. And if you break it down in the right time frame, you'll get this dot cross in the 2 hourly where we got rejected initially. Seems to be building a pretty prototypical bear flag. And you would want to break through this. I mean, you could do it like this. You could do it like this. I would probably go more like that. I'd be more inclined to do it like this, especially if you're using the 2 hour. It does not have to prove a lot in the 2 hourly to invalidate this. So, you know, if it plays down like this, and then you can get like, okay, well, we're gonna fine tune this now. We're gonna actually look at it to the bee's knees. Then you can get down into the areas, but you can even have a smaller drop if it plays out. Now, what we're looking for is an opposite reaction, which means so now that just decided to pop up. That's interesting. Look, I'm Houdini. It's fine. I'll keep the moving average convergence divergence on here. I like it. In fact, this is the one I like better anyhow. So, but assuming that massive, well, not massive, but the totality happens, but then you got a smaller drop here that could come back, test that 289. So that's if it were to break down. And right now, the dot cross here, they are lagging indicators, but the 20 cross and the 200, if we get a rejection here, that would be confirmation. And then you really would have no choice. And it's not just XRP that's showing this. It's across the market. Just showing signs of a little bit of a correction. Ethereum's in the same light. Nothing to be afraid of. Just flipped red. MACD flipped red here. In the smaller time frames. I like the stochastic on here too because it really, really gives you a real identity. I mean, it gives you a real identity if you're actually looking. I know I keep talking about the stochastic now. But if I'm doing it, I'm putting the stochastic on. And I like the stochastic a lot. I mean, too bad TradingView doesn't seem to understand what's going on here. Can't seem to get it right, but that's okay. I don't think it's ever had a problem so bad like today. It's all right. So the 4 hourly is massively oversold now, which is good. I think something is set up here now. You know, I don't necessarily think we're going to break down because everything seemed to have held at a good spot, but we have to make sure we don't invalidate, or we can invalidate this drop. That's all we need to do. We need to invalidate this right now. And right now we've been getting rejected at the exact spots you would to have it come down one more layer. But I'm telling you, don't miss out on what it's going to be equivalent to a 2017. I mean, you might not get the same percentages, but it's going to mirror in a lot of ways 2017. 2021 was a facade. That was a nice bull trap for everybody. So, you know, I think we got something big that'll be coming up here. I do. It's just, does it happen before September, after September, which is typically the bearish month in crypto? Historically, September is the most bearish month in crypto. Does it happen in Q1 of 26? Does it really matter? Honestly, like, and I know a lot of people think we're way up here right now with pricing. Only XRP's way up here. Most of the others are way down, way down. 95% off from 2021. XRP cost you, as to where most of them will cost you 7 to 10 cents on the dollar from 21 pricing at the highs, or 22 at the highs, wherever they decided to peak on certain ones. XRP right now is giving you, it's going to cost you, what, $1.60 on the dollar, as compared to some of them are 7 to 10 cents on the dollar. You know, so XRP is not in the same area as all the rest of these. So yeah, XRP, what, you might be late to the ship, but all the rest of them have been boarding up and they don't have enough passengers yet. They're saying, damn, how many more times we got to circle back around before the captain lets us take off? He says, well, guys, I can't possibly leave the dock with only this many people on. How am I going to pay you? How am I going to extort money if there's only this many people in here? That's where we're at. So we're in the waiting game. This is the accumulation phase of all accumulation phases. So let me say hi to a few people real quick. And then we'll take this apart a little bit deeper. Got a lot. We'll look at VeChain, we'll look at IOTA, we'll look at XDC, we'll look at Band. Outside of what I just talked about with XRP, we'll look at, Bitcoin and see where it's at. We'll look at Ethereum. Well, we already have looked at Ethereum, but we'll probably double back at Ethereum at some point. I wanted to time this up where the front end of it was going to be the 8 p.m. flip so that we could get a little bit of a detailed look for about 45 minutes together. So as we wait for the flip, I'll say hello to everybody. Let's see. Frankie Fresh, welcome in. Thank you so much for tuning in. I hope Janine's doing having a blessed day as well. I know hopefully she's watching. And I see you got a new badge, the 6-month badge. Oh, it's echoing, is it? It's fine now. Oh, okay, perfect. But the 6-month badge, that is excellent to see. That is excellent to see. Crazy Paul, welcome in, and thanks for being in Tom's Army for over 6 months with the XP Predictor, along with Papa Wheeler and the Cannabis Podcast. Thank you, all three of you. Cannabis Podcast says, Putin and Trump mentioned digital even though nothing was accomplished. Interesting. I haven't been watching any of it, to be honest with you. I can't do it. Big Dog, welcome in, and thanks for being in Tom's Army for 3+ months with the XRP Meteor, along with Define Group. Thank you, Define Group, for being a very trusted mod in here and also in the Telegram. And I know Define's getting to spend some time with his brother, Peter, who is watching. So hello, Peter. I'm honored and privileged that you actually, put a little bit of faith and trust into what I'm trying to accomplish here. And not just that, but trying to learn and grasp and trying to, embrace the journey that's coming in this next chapter. It's not just in our crypto sphere, Peter. It's in the transcendence of the world, friends. And I think it's cool that more families are starting to join the community. More people, husbands and wives, brothers and sisters, are all starting to kind of get more in lockstep. And that's how we can shift the energy from we can't do it to we can. A lot of people say, well, I can't do that. Well, sure you can. It just takes practice. Anything you're good at, were you good at it when you first started? No, it took work, and then you become professional, expert. So I believe the same thing here if we put dedication in. That's why right now we know we're in a very critical time. Whether these bear flags play out or not, we still close in a reasonable spot here to where we can actually look at it from a bullish aspect as well and be like, well, technically we closed up a little bit higher than we, the make it or break it zone. Like XRP is a perfect example. Closed above 306. But does that just mean we roll into the weekend and just go, well, everybody got their paycheck now? I feel like we said this last few Fridays. Fortunately, after an initial drop on Friday, we had a couple good weekends in a row. But is this the weekend where they kind of softened us up and now we can clearly, if we just take away the other part of the pattern, yes, I understand we can see that inverse head and shoulders, but I can see a pretty big topping reversal here as well, where this could be a left shoulder, head, right shoulder, and if that's the case, we just reset. It's not even a big reset. Like, you're talking about a minimal reset if this holds 285. That's so minimal. It doesn't even invalidate the inverse head and shoulders. In fact, it makes it stronger because if it holds this, you're going to have left shoulder, head, a swinging right shoulder. That's going to be fucking incredibly bullish. Actually, it would end up swinging down more. Completely keeping intact. Even if I tried to come down like this, I missed it by a little bit. I think you guys understand what I'm trying to say. But it still keeps that intact. Like that, there's nothing wrong with these drops. Like, I have a feeling that a lot of people are going to miss this bull run, the part of alt season, because I think two things are going to happen. One, I think XRP is the deceiver of this bull season. And I know everybody gets mad when I say it, but okay, it's different for me or Defined or some of the others who own it at 50 or 40 or 30 or some of the other ones in our audience like Sean Crothers who own it cheap and a bunch of others. I think Crypto Cooter is amongst that. There's a bunch of people who are amongst that. The Gatman is definitely in that conversation. You know, and thanks for being in Town Zone for 3+ years, or 2+ years with the, no, 3+ years with the XRP Diamond Hands badge. Excellent. Excellent. But you know, so it's different. But what I'm saying simply is if you're buying something here, there is 0 times out of 100 I'm buying XRP at $3.07 when I can simply look 2 spots down and say, hey, XDC, sitting there at 8.6 cents. Does FINRA ring a bell with anybody? Yeah. Does any of it ring a bell? You know, like when you look deeper, it's like, I understand XRP, but I think it really is the big deceiver. All the big influencers get paid to promote it. You know, I mean, I feel like I'm on an island sometimes. I'm like, where are they getting all this information? That's all horseshit. This is hogwash. It's the whole reason I started this. I couldn't trust what I was watching. I'm like, I know how to do the charts, and what you're saying simply is not going to happen. Even if you want it to happen on your best day, you better hope to God that somebody turns the fucking sell signal off. But now we're in a different time. XRP's already almost 10x here still from the bottom. And it has 10x from the bottom of the cycle in 23. Because it was down to 28.5 cents. So it's still 10x. It's almost 10x from where we got it at 34. But a move from here from $3 to $6, we're fucking rejoicing. Are you kidding me? But somebody who buys it from here, they needed to get the $6.14 to 1x. All I simply am trying to say, everybody, is if you were buying today, do you think there's a better chance at XRP getting to $6.14? Or do you think there's a better chance that XDC's at 17.2 cents? That's my honest question. Do you think XRP will be able to get the $6 first? Boo-boos? Wow. You know, it's an honest question, and there's other ones. Like, do you think XRP is going to be sitting $6 plus before, you know, IOTA gets up to 40 cents? Or before Algo gets to 50 cents? It seems unlikely. I look here, and every single time I scroll up and down the screen, like, honestly, I'm considering not even continuing to reinvest into HBAR and just putting it into IOTA. I think there's much more upside there. So prices being 24 cents, I almost think the moment's passed for HBAR. We were buying it at 5 cents. It's a lot different at 24.7 than at 5. It's just that the percentages are different. You have to, so I look at it and it's like, what's the better option here? And I think there's a few of them that are just going to knock our socks off. It's just where? Where's that exact spot that they take our socks? And that's the question. If you're looking at it from a micro, it could be this last drop if this happens. I'm being honest. If this happens, and this could take several weeks, we don't know, but if this happens, the MACD, the stochastic definitely speaks to the fact that it's trying to clear out. And look, the flow is moving down in the daily. So it's not a bad signal here across the board. If it needs to come a little bit, it's not going to invalidate anything. Even if it comes way down here, well, we triple bottom. If we come down here to 60 cents, that's still, I mean, it leaves this entire pattern open for another test. So I don't know. It's just looking at some of this stuff. And then you look at it in the monthly sense, and it's extremely oversold. Extremely. And this isn't the only story that's like this. So it's still very early for bans. So this is absolutely accumulation zone. When you start seeing the stochastic that oversold in the monthly, that's when you buy. You buy it when it's in oversold, and you sell it when it gets to overbought. And the monthly. You get everything in between. You get the micro movement. The weekly is a good indicator as well. And the weekly's in neutral. Or trying to get there. But we'll see. Maybe it dumps back down and catches up to the monthly. Maybe every time frame will catch up. They're definitely all trending in that direction now. Oversold in the 4-hourly, breaking a little bullish. 3-hourly broke past. Money, it might be, but it could. There's not a lot of pushback. You know, so 48.2 to me, if it does come down, there is a stellar opportunity. I don't know if it's going to come down 17 cents. Like, I find it hard to believe. But that would be one of those cases where the market just decides to roll over and drop 20 more percent, 25%. But I don't know if that's necessarily going to happen here. But, you know, we're going, like I said, we're in the bearish month and a half right now that we can be in crypto. From August, mid-August, until the end of the September, it's the most bearish time you're going to find in crypto, usually. And we're already seeing the impact of it because even when we moved up, we completely pulled back down. So, I mean, it makes sense. But I still know we closed above that psychological level. So there is this optic, but oh man, we're in a special time. V-Chain, I promised we would look at that. And it's the same thing. We're going to see if we're meant to actually break down and continue down for a little bit and come down to that. It's around 2-1 if you measure it out. I want to do it here with everybody real quick. I'm going to get rid of this and this just so we can see. I can always add them if I want to. But we see these mini inverse head and shoulders here. That's the question here right now. Left shoulder, head, right shoulder. Is this going to play out? Now let me use this. Left shoulder, head, back down into a right shoulder. You could have used this or this. Now if it gets rejected, it's going to bring it back down into this area, maybe invalidating this initial inverse head. But it doesn't come down below. It could just be an over-exaggerated. We don't know. But if this holds, and let's just say this is a W form in here, and we can take the up route, well, we're going to find ourselves back up in that zone. And it would be a pretty quick, you know, little push back. But we've got to invalidate this 2-hour structure. Because just like some of the others, this is about to put a death cross in. So we need to invalidate it. We definitely need to invalidate it. So the micro is looking a little choppy. But then you start to go into the macro and you start looking at it from a weekly. You start looking at it from a monthly. And, you know, we are on that breakout attempt right now. We've broken out of a long-standing pattern. The apex was August 11th, roughly. Like, the apex of this pattern. So now the only question is do you back test down here on a drop? It's possible. XRP did it after its long breakout. It made a nice run up, and then it came back down. But the ultimate breakout, we still haven't done it yet. That's the truth. Short term, yes. Long term, going all the way back, you know, to even farther than that. December of 2020, we still haven't broke out yet. And we won't, and the possibility is we could do this until August of 26. But you're getting closer and closer to the floor on each little movement here. Now that red 001, that's in the worst possible situation, and crypto this is all a setup, and this is a fake push. And hear me out. This is a fake push in the weekly, and they drop the hammer here, and the market drops down to unprecedented levels before having the rally of a lifetime. And I've often run this scenario in my head. There's one of two reasons why XRP was brought up so high. If the market does drop, let's just say for whatever reason, and I don't think this is necessarily, I think this would be hard pressed to happen, because I don't think they're going to drop the market 93%. Let's just say we go through some catastrophic event, something happens, and the market drops 25%. And V-Chain's at 1.8 cents. Well, XRP still being at $3 right now and dropping 25%, you know, it still leaves it right around the $2 to $2.20 mark, which is pretty awesome. So we've talked often that they said, and Brad Garlinghouse said they were going to price out retail, and I think they have. Because 10,000 tokens is no longer attainable for $3,500 or $5,000 or hell, $7,000. And that's the level that I think you need to be at in tokens like this to actually have a real shot at making some real money. Life-changing money, in fact. But now to buy 10,000 tokens, you're talking about $30,000 plus. That is not available for retail. Retail can't afford that. Retail is maxed out on their credit cards. They can't afford that. Like, that's the truth. Retail is living on car payments, on cars they can't afford, to show off to neighbors that they don't like, to brag to people they drive past that they'll never see again. Like, it makes no sense. But that's where we're at. Hi, Julie.
Guys said you're doing God's work and seeing birds.
Oh, he said that? Yeah, I'm doing God's work because I got birdseed, which I have to go put out right now, so you guys have to wait a minute. I so apologize. I know this is so unprofessional. It is. And I have the squirrels.
A watermelon and a cherry.
Watermelon?
What you doing, Bob? Woo!
Thank you.
Do you think he can go outside? Yeah. Casey, you want to go outside one more time? Tommy. Where's my Tommy? Sorry about that, everybody. I'll be right there. There was a really nice old car that
Was there? Dream cruise time. So sorry about that, but you know, I love the animals and I had to take care of nature. My son went outside with Julie. Ethereum's at 4,461. Now we had options closed today. $2 billion worth of Ethereum and Bitcoin options. I think it was $2 billion. Closed today, so that was definitely something. It was a massive amount of options. Maybe it was 1 billion. Can't remember. So that closed. Definitely stirred up the market a little bit. Let's see if Ethereum wants to invalidate this downward spiral here. Hey, we're at that point already here in the live now. This is good. We'll be able to see it in real time. So what we'd be looking for is Ethereum to clear over now and hold 4,451 in the short time frame and try to work our way back out in the hourly or 2 hourly and not be invalidated on this next movement down. So we definitely got to get back over 4,500. Big time. Big time. Get back on top of the 200 would be perfect and then start working our way. Volume, not a lot, not a ton, but not a ton. It's going to be an interesting weekend. Let's just say that. This is going to be a very interesting weekend. One way or the other, we're either going to get some phenomenal news, or they're going to continue to kind of hang us by a rope here as they try to usher in, rate cuts. And the best way to do that is to make it look bad. I know popular belief says if we have bad numbers, markets are all crashing, they're going to raise rates, but they're going to do the opposite. Just when you have some kind of common sense, just think of the government and do the opposite. So common sense says, yeah, they would raise it and they would raise rates hard. The government says, oh, this is a good opportunity to lower rates and print even more easy money that our kids will, the future is going to the robots anyhow, so it don't matter. You can go to school for whatever the hell you want. Unless you understand tech, it don't matter. If you don't have a grasp on digital, you're screwed. Those $250,000 college degrees that pay $60,000 a year, skip it. There's no point. I don't know. Save yourself the trouble if you're a youngster watching this. Trade. And I'm not talking trade crypto, just trades where you have a specified talent that you can continue to adapt year after year, month after month, decade after decade. Nobody says it's going to be easy. So you try to find something that you can actually passionately do. And hopefully by the time you're in your 40s, you'll be blessed like I am and find something that I actually want to do every single day. Now, it took me until I was 38 to figure out this well, wait a minute. What am I? 41, so 37. Yeah, I was about 37. That's fair. I might have just turned 38. No, 37. I think I just turned 37. But now here we are. But this is literally those moments where you start to get into I don't call it disbelief in these moments. I call it it's just the panic amongst anxiety there's so much anxiety in these moments. So much anxiety. So when you feel that anxiety, you pull it out. And no, I don't mean you're weighing, guys. I mean you pull out the chart into the grand scale. And then when you look at it, you're like, ooh, that's an all-time cup and handle formed here. What are we afraid of here? What are we really worried about here? We're backtesting right now above on the total crypto market cap. You know what happens if we break out from here? No, legitimately. Do we really realize what happens if we break the cup and handle? I haven't shown you the grand target yet, I don't believe. If this does it in a grand way, and I've shown you the micro targets a lot, but are you ready for something like this to happen? If something like this happened and we did this, where do you think altcoins would be if the total 3 goes from 1.04 trillion up to 1.97 and basically doubles? What do you think happens to the altcoins when this doubles? That's a massive inverse head and shoulders, massive cup and handle. So, and the total 3 is all money flowing in, not Bitcoin and Ethereum. So legitimately, all of your altcoins, meme coins and all that bullshit is in here too. But the top 2 are gone from this equation. And look at that setup. Does that look scary? Or does that look like an opportunity that we've been waiting for a lifetime that might not have been seen since something like this? See this? Big end of the... It's going to be historic. This will be historic. What happens after that? Nobody knows. It'll probably go, want to see history? This is crypto. And then people will be like, oh, Tom, what the fuck? Let's just say we trickle up here after a number of time. Eventually, going to just do something like that. We're going to have an influx moment at that. Probably, if we come up here, influx is going to be right around that 1.4 to 1.6 trillion, and we're going to try to figure it out. Maybe it is that 1.48 trillion that ends up being that make it or break it zone on the way back on a consolidation. But it's going to happen every single step of the way, and we're going to have these extraordinary corrections. But anybody who rides it from this area to this area, you've made history. Anybody who buys it here, you've made exit liquidity history. because we're going to have to sell at some point, and we're probably going to do it there. And then we're going to sit through a crypto winter for a year or two, and then we're going to do it again. Except this time we're going to be way up here instead of way down here, instead of way down here. See how the cycle keeps evolving? This is the point. It's been, and now you start looking at it over the years. When we started in 21, we didn't have this evidence, but now you start looking at this, you start to go, wow, it really does follow a perpetual swing. Like, hey, overzealous, back to our real support. Hey, overzealous, back to our real support. Hey, overzealous. And we start to have that perpetual loop. And it's pretty fun when you get on the cycles. And this isn't our first or second. This would be technically our third. Even though 21 we were in the bull trap, whatever you want to call that run up, but we were able to sell. Then in 23, it's just different parts of a cycle. This is going to be our first true cycle that feels like 2017 since we've been together. That's just what I feel like. I think 21 was important for us to have started our journey together before that run happened because we were able to get out, you know, in the top of that bull market and then not buy back until the bottom of the last bear market. But this is what it was building in 21. It was building the inverse heads here. It was building the W parts of these reversals. This one doesn't show a W, but some of the other ones do. But you see what I'm saying? Like, we've been building this for a very, 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 very long time. John Sampson's been here just as long. Says, all I want for Christmas is an 11-cent XLM. I don't know, my friend. I think that might have passed. I think that pasture might have come to pass. We got that 11 cents last year. A little bit better even. I don't know, but, you know, that would be in that scenario where we looked at some of the charts. And thank you for being in Tom's Number for 50 months now, John. True respect, my friend. With the XRP Phoenix badge. That is so unbelievable. Unbelievable. And that badge, you know, you can't even get, you know, seeing it on my lives or anything, because that is actually the XRP Phoenix badge. Unbelievable. Unless we lose with, you can call it whatever the hell you want, but if we end up at 297 or 280 at the end of, or let's just say for argument's sake to fit your narrative, if we close August at $2.97, was it bullish or bearish? It was bearish. It fits the narrative perfectly. Psychologically, yeah, in the macro, it's still super bullish, but it doesn't change the fact August would be a bearish month. But I think as long as we stay over 289, we're fine. Because anything under 289, the problem with that is then you only have that last-ditch support between 278 and 282 to hold you at 250. But it's all an illusion. Thank you for also being in Tom's Time for 6+ months with the XRP Predictor. Much love, my friend. Much love. I do appreciate that. So very much. Same with George. Thank you both for being in Tom's Time for over 6 months with the XRP Predictor. Oh, I know you did, John. I know you did. You love XLM, and you're the reason why that years ago I started looking at it in a different light, too. But yeah, no, if we get that opportunity again, it will be taken advantage of again by me as well. So, I'm on the exact same page as you, friend. But, you know, this is the second live of the day, but my son is outside, and I want to go outside and hang out with him because he's going back to school soon. So I hope this update was what it was. You felt it the way it was supposed to be felt. And you understand the levels that we talked about because they are important. XDC, we're still stuck in this perpetual motion here. Do we get broken down here? Or are we continuously holding this level? And right now, look at this defined if you're watching. We're at the make it or break it zone right now to give us that intel. That's what we want to see. We're trying to get this intel. Death cross, if we get rejected, would form in the 4 hourly, which would be a bearish signal down to the 0.72 to 0.75 level. So, you know, we'll see what happens here. We will definitely see what's happening. But yeah, I'm going to call it a day. Be blessed. I'm going to go hang out with my son. We got 40 minutes in, so I don't feel guilty at all. Be blessed, everybody.